every question I could think of regarding this issue. I can't think of any more, in all honesty. But I did bring up this issue of the Ukrainians working with the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign. I also talked about a lot of other issues, the V15 group that Obama's operatives and taxpayer dollars went to defeat Bibi. If going after foreign countries' elections is so bad. Very little media coverage. Real crimes have been committed in this country. I would argue Hillary Clinton destroying emails, mishandling, destroying them. I would argue Hillary Clinton, the Uranium One deal, and $100 million plus kicked back to her. Comey, we know it's classified information, and we know a violation of the Records Act. Loretta Lynch's meeting with Bill Clinton on the tarmac. 125 leaks from the deep state in 126 days. The media that's watching this now never told the American people about the Ukrainian story, except for Politico, to their credit, and a few others, not many. What is your reaction to the double standard?
Listen, I think, the double standard is upsetting. I mean, you see it every day. I mean, we tune in, obviously. We were probably junkies before, and now it's a lot harder to not take it personally, and you try to do it. And, I'd love to rant and rave about it, but candidly right now, with everything that's going on, I think that people see it. I think they're starting to get it, and I think the mainstream media has probably done themselves, a pretty big disservice by going so far, by going so extreme, by being so sensational. And I think it's pushing regular people away because they want to see what my father campaigned on. They want to see jobs. They want to see the numbers that he's putting up. The stock market keeps breaking hits. We have the all-time highest employment in the country in terms of overall numbers. All these things, that he promised he would do, they're happening. They're actually happening. And that's not getting any coverage. And that's a real shame. That's a real disservice to the people of this country.
Well, I agree with you, and I agree. I think the forgotten men and women is something that I talked about last night. Obviously, Robert Mueller announced earlier tonight he's going to be looking into it. You said in a tweet you would fully cooperate with any investigation.
Of course.
Completely.
100%.
Turn over everything that they want, and you feel you already have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you have nothing to hide. You want to be, and that means you'll testify under oath, all of that.
All of it.
Yeah. Any other issue, your sister was attacked. I could play montages of that.
Yeah.
Joe Scarborough calls your father a schmuck, a goon, a thug. That's NBC's coverage. You've got the severed head issue. You've been attacked. It seems like one by one they try to pick off anyone around the president. Why do you think there's this reaction that is so almost like there's so many groups so opposing your father? Why do you think this? I've never seen it in all the years I've covered politics.
I think we're just so far away from the political elite. Whether you were on one side or the other, you were still part of that group. There was never necessarily consequences for inaction and for doing things, their way. So I think when you come from so far out, look at the attacks on Ivanka. I was pretty vocal about that stuff this weekend. If she was anyone else's daughter, she'd be a feminist icon, one of the most, just this incredible, brilliant, well-spoken woman, and they try to belittle her at every chance. It's really sad. And as, again, for me as a family member, as her brother, as her older brother, you do take it personally, and it does make you want to fight back. And that's, perhaps what we are, is we are fighters, and they don't take well to that either, because most people don't like being called on their stuff.
My last question, one of the things you said tonight, maybe not so Trumpian, I guess, in the sense, although I do think your father and you are a lot alike, you said in retrospect.
Yeah.
Explain that with a little bit more detail.
Listen, again, I think I probably know more now. I think in the grand scheme of the hysteria that's been talked about, over the last 8, 9, 10 months with Russia, things are probably different than they were 13 months ago. And yeah, there were a couple people talking about it, and they just sort of, launched this notion. It's just a little bit different. In retrospect, I know more now, but hindsight's always 20/20.
All right, Don Jr., thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
Appreciate you answering every question I can think of. When we come back, we'll get a legal perspective. Jay Sekulow with